Hello and good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel, and this will be another video on the little blue ZX. Today's video will be a how-to on removing the front drive shafts. However, when I first got this car, the passenger side, which is the shorter drive shaft, did have to be replaced early on, so that should be rather easy to show and remove. But considering there's a different procedure for both passenger side and driver's side, because the longer one's got bolts underneath where the engine mounts on the bottom engine support, so the driver's side is completely different to remove to the passenger side. I will be showing you how to when it comes to removing the passenger side and the driver's side. So let's get started on the work with that then. So guys, I have decided to start the video under the car, and where is it? Just there is the drain plug for the gearbox oil, but as you will see where my finger is, it's not much in the way of clearance. I have tried, that's a 21mm as well, and it's just absolutely typical that I've got a 20mm spanner, a 22mm spanner, but no 21. I do however have 21mm socket. Where is the numbers? 21mm socket just there, and if I try and put that on, the best I'm getting is that, so I can't get a good clearance or a good grab on that, so I can't attempt to do that because I don't want to bust it. I have also, off camera, because there is just a little square in there, don't know if you can see it, but Renaults, Peugeots, Citroens, they all have a similar thing, and you can buy a special tool to undo them. I have had to be ingenious and make my own tool in the past, so I thought I'd try that homemade tool, which originally it was a 3/8 small extension, filed down. And that would normally, what I'd normally do with that is I would normally put that in there, whack that in with a hammer, tap it into place with a hammer, and it would sit much more snugly than the pre-made manufactured tools would, and it would normally undo them every time. But you can see the angle of that with the clearance I've got, even that's not going to work, because as soon as I try and put any force on this with the ratchet, that's just going to spin straight out and bust up the square in there. So what I have decided to do is I've decided to put an oil pan underneath, pull the drive shafts, and any oil that comes out with that will just go into the oil pan then, and when I actually get the engine unmounted and on the crane, I will undo that, tilt the engine to one side, and drain the last of the oil out of the gearbox that way. So onto the drive shafts. This is the driver's side drive shaft where it goes into the gearbox. That should just pull out there, but to pull that out I have to undo what looks like them two 10mm bolts on the central point. Don't know if I can show you that. That's where the central point is for the drive shaft. It looks like I'm going to have to undo them two 10mm bolts, and then that should just pull straight through and out from there nicely. Obviously I've got to undo all the wheel end as well. I'll show you guys that in a minute. Up into the top here you can see slightly rusty, but perfectly fine. That is the passenger side drive shaft, where it goes into the gearbox, and that will just pull straight out, maybe with a little help from a pry bar as well, but that will just pull straight out. And obviously I have to undo the passenger side bits as well. So I'll just get out and I'll show you what we've got to do on the outside edges of the car. So into the driver's side wheel arch, we have a split pin there with the nut. I'm not sure if I might struggle getting that off, but we'll give that a shot. Actually, that outer nut is rather loose, look, but the split pin's there anyway, so that will probably come off by hand. And then there's a nut behind it as well, I think, so that's like double nutted on that side. I don't know why, but this is the side with the excuse the cobwebs, with the split boot, so we'll have to do a new boot on that side, and this is the longer drive shaft. Let's go to the passenger side. This one was replaced, because this one, when I first got the car, was clicking and clacking on the left and right turns. So this has been a recently replaced drive shaft anyway. Again, the split pin needs to come out, the nut needs to come off. I will be having to, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing that nut there and dropping the ball joint, or whether I'll undo the 3 underneath. Depends what works out easiest, but we'll see that soon. And then, like I said, that's just there, and that one's going to be the easy one, so I think we'll start with the easy one first. I'll get you set up and we'll get cracking. So I did initially attempt to undo these 3 bolts and nuts. There's 17 at the top, 17 at the bottom, and I was going to use swan expanders, sockets and stuff, but it turns out that the middle bolt fails and hits on the actual back of the drive shaft, so that's not going to be happening. So I'm going to have to just undo this pinch bolt, split this here so I can get the movement I need to get the drive shaft out. This side of the pinch bolt is 16mm, the other side of the pinch bolt is 17mm. I have decided to bring out my old ratchet with an extension, and it's actually a spark plug socket, but I need a deep 16mm, that's all I've got, along with my newer ratchet, which I actually use the most because it's the newer one, with my 17mm on a long extension as well. And we'll get this undone now. It's can I get any other side? Nope, let's twist that slightly so I can hopefully get on the other side. No, I can't. Okay, but is that moving? Oh, so it's undoing anyway because I have already pre-loosened it, but so okay, that's one socket off. No, that's not going to come off. Okay, I'll try and get that off and I'll bring you guys back in. So as you guys will see, I've now got that wound out. I have however decided not to split that just yet with a pry bar. I'm going to undo the hub nut, and basically I'm going to undo this hub nut. I brought out the big tools for that. Let me just straighten this up a little bit. So I brought out the big tools. I have already, however, pulled the split pin out. That I've completely mangled getting it out, but I'm not bothered. I've got a box of split pins. I'll put a brand new one in. That is a 32mm, and this is what I mean by bringing the big guns in. Alright, so we'll need that one to pop just on there, like so. Lovely jubbly. And we will get Beast of Impact. We'll get that undone in record time. So I'll just get that plugged in and do that now. We'll put that on there like that. Lovely. That's one nut straight off, whip straight off like so. Nice and easy. So what you guys will see now is that I can push that in nice and freely. Ouch. I'm going to get me pry bar and I'll show you guys quickly where I'm going to put this. I am just, however, going to lock that literally just under there, like so, and try lifting up. And it's not going to work. 1 second. So I've decided to put you there because I've finally found somewhere where I can put the pry bar. If I put it literally just between the bottom of the pinch bolt, where that was, and on top of this nut just here, I can pry down on that, and oh, if I don't slip off, and then that way it should just come off. Right, so change of plan, guys. As you can see, I've decided to put a ball breaker splice in there. I don't know what the proper name is, but it's designed to do this job. Whack it in that way as far as you can, and then literally whack down on it. And I'd love to say as easy as that, but I kind of shortened it down for you guys to not see it so much hard work. So what we'll do is we will reposition and we'll get the drive shaft pulled out. I said about repositioning, but actually I think this ain't a bad position for the recording of what I'm about to do. I've turned the steering wheel in the car so the steering is full right hand down, pointing that way basically, so that gives me more play and more space to maneuver the leg out the way, and I can just do that, push that out the way, completely twist that. Drive shaft will now pop round this way, and that will just plop straight out. And I'm definitely glad I've got the oil pan underneath, because that's collecting the oil. Trust the wind to take some though, but never mind. So that is driver's side drive shaft removed and off the car. And as you can see, don't know, just in there, that is leaking oil, but I have got the tray underneath and it's leaking into there with the wind taking it a bit, but there's not much I can do about that, I'm afraid. Stop it, wind. Right, so we'll get set up for the other side now. So I have put the pinch bolt back in on the passenger side. You can see the drive. I'm under the car because I've decided to do these two 11 mils first of all. I am just going to use quarter inch 11 mil socket, long extension, deep 11 mil quarter inch socket, that's what I mean, on my little baby quarter inch ratchet. And the idea is they're not actually that tight, they're only literally holding a little locating lug in. I haven't even pre-loosened these ones, so okay, they're not tight at all. Yeah, they're not tight at all really. My little quarter inch ratchet is doing quite fine. So what I'll do is I'll pull them out on both sides and I'll get back to you when I've done that. As you guys can see, I've got the nuts off. These are literally just ready to push out the other side, but they won't go any further than what I'm now pushing because they're up against the drive shaft at the other side. So they are nice and loose and able to push straight out when needed. Now we'll go to the that end and undo that end like we did on the other side. So earlier on when I said about this split pin and being through there and this being rather loose, this is just however a cover. The nut behind is a 35. We're going to use the big impact on there, and what I'm going to do with this side is, because I've showed you underneath with those bolts, I'm literally just going to pull this side apart by pulling this off. I'm going to pull the pinch bolt out and get that separated just underneath there. It will be the same as last time, and then I'll basically bring you back when I'm pulling the drive shaft out and show you the drive shaft. So I've brought you in now guys, and I've removed the bolt from the drive shaft nut, as you can see there. I have got it completely disconnected from the split pinch bolt and the bottom arm. I've also done a full left hand down as though I'm going a hard left turn, so I've got my full extent of the steering rack so I can get more movement on the suspension leg. And then now I'm just going to pull that drive shaft out like so. Yeah, it's all greasy and lovely. And then now, because I undone them bolts earlier on underneath the engine, that should, he says, should just pull out, but what's stopping that? I'll work that out, guys, and I'll bring you back. So in the last clip I said I'll work it out and bring you back. That was approximately 3.5 hours ago, but oh well. So 3.5 hours ago, and many swearing and bash knuckles sit later, we have got the drive shaft out. I have put the bottom arm back into there. I've straightened the steering up as well, because if I do ever need to put it down on its wheels, I need that bottom pin in. Pinch bolt is loosely in just because it's not going to be driven anywhere. So, and down there you can see the gearbox. There was also an engine mount here as well, and I'll show you that in a second, because where it was set up to just pull out, it should have just pulled out, and I'll show you on there. Basically, if I take you under quickly, just there you can see there's 3 bolts there. That's where the speedo drive was bolted to. I had to unbolt the speedo drive from there, just to allow me better, easier access to get it out. Just up here, oh, I don't know what's the best way to do it. That way. Just here you can see that bolt there. That's one of 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 as well, and then you've got the pins there, and that holds the engine mount. Now the issue was, this is the end that was in the gearbox. Focus. This is the end that was in the gearbox. That would have slotted out, should have slotted out quite fine. This is the first part of the engine mount, bolts onto the side of the engine with the 4 bolt holes there, and then a couple of pins. That should just slide straight out of there. And I did also I done these 10 mils. Turns out though, I didn't need to take the 10 mils all the way, 11 mils sorry, off all the way. All I had to do was have it so it could go like that, and then twist it to get that lock pin out, and then that should then come past. But because I undone them, there's even less of a resistance, because if they was going to be in the way, they'd have just pulled out. But unfortunately, it's jammed in there, it ain't moving. Some reason it won't come out of there, but I'll work that out and at a later date. Now onto the CB boot. I was struggling originally to see where it's split, but as you can see there, open wide, smile, hello YouTube. Right, anyway, enough toying about. That is the speedo drive. That was what was bolted on to the side of the gearbox where those 3 bolts were, and then that then goes onto there like so, and I had to unbolt that as well just to give me better access of getting it off. And also this was on there, as this was on the engine, and this was the actual mount basically with that, and that is my mount. So as you guys can see, the drive shafts are off, and we're one step closer, even though there's still a lot to do, of getting this out. So guys, if you like that little how-to video of removing the drive shafts, give us a thumbs up. Oops. And I apologise for not showing you the driver's side drive shaft being pulled out, but that's well and truly in there. I'm not really sure how I'm going to get it out of there, and to be fair, I might not even bother, because it doesn't need removing. There's nothing really wrong with it other than that split boot. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. My aim at the moment is to get the engine and gearbox out, get the engine and gearbox split, and get the engine rebuilt. So that is what I'm aiming for. So what we've done so far, we've literally removed all the front end. We've removed all the wiring, we've removed all the coolant hoses. It still, however, does have its fuel line connected. So that is the next thing that needs to be removed. The exhaust needs removing, and I may tear it apart on the drive and take it round to the shed in bits, because I've got to walk all the way around the block with an engine otherwise, and that's no easy task. But we'll see. We'll see how the things go. I'm pretty much going to leave that one here, guys. So if you like my content, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my content and be completely notified of what else is to come, subscribe and don't forget to ring the bell icon. So I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye for now.